The Xenological Institute of the Galactic Core buzzed with its usual array of electromagnetic communications, quantum entanglement signals, and telepathic broadcasts. In one of its quieter study chambers, 3 senior students found themselves staring at the last remaining topic on the assignment board. Zix 427, a crystalline being whose facets shimmered with anxiety patterns, projected their thoughts toward their project partners. Everyone else picked the obvious species, the hive minds of Sector 7, the Silicon Collective, even the energy dancers of the void. We're stuck with humans. At least it's unique, vibrated Som, a gaseous entity whose purple clouds swirled with interest. Though I don't understand why they're listed under species of special concern. The third member of their group, an artificial intelligence housed in a sleek hovering sphere named Datastream, pulsed with curiosity. Its surface displayed rapidly scrolling data as it accessed the public archives. Fascinating. Humans are the only species ever banned from galactic warfare for being too capable. Most species are restricted due to technological inadequacy or psychological instability. The 3 students exchanged their species equivalent of puzzled looks. Humans were a pre-FTL civilization, confined to a single solar system. Their technology was primitive by galactic standards, their bodies fragile, and their lifespans barely registered on a cosmic scale. Perhaps there's been a classification error. Zix 427 suggested, their crystalline structure vibrating with uncertainty. No error, Datastream responded, its surface now displaying the official seal of the Galactic Defense Council. The ban was implemented 3 centuries ago after just 6 standard months of human participation in unified combat forces. The rest of the file is sealed under highest-level security protocols. Som's gaseous form condensed with excitement. A sealed file. For a primitive species. Now that's interesting. The group made their way to Professor Nexus's office, their chosen faculty advisor. The ancient energy being had been teaching xenological studies for over a millennium, and rumors suggested they had first-hand experience with humans. Professor Nexus's response to their topic selection was unexpected. Their usually brilliant aura dimmed noticeably, and there was a distinct pause before they spoke. Are you certain you wish to pursue this line of research? There are many other fascinating species to study. With respect, Professor, Datastream interjected. The unusual nature of the human classification has captured our interest. Why would a species with such limited capabilities be considered too dangerous for galactic warfare? The professor's aura flickered with what might have been concern. Very well. I will grant you access to the restricted archives. But remember, some knowledge changes more than just our understanding. It changes how we see the universe itself. As they left the professor's office with their newly granted security clearances, Som's gaseous form rippled with excitement. Did anyone else find the professor's warning a bit dramatic? What could be so dangerous about studying humans? Zix 427's crystalline structure glowed with determination. Whatever it is, we're going to find out. The archives await. The restricted archives were housed in the deepest level of the Institute, protected by multiple layers of security fields and cognitive barriers. As they made their way down, Datastream processed the available public data on humans. Their physical capabilities are unremarkable, the AI noted. Average strength for their size, no natural weapons, limited sensory range. Their only notable characteristic seems to be unusual cognitive flexibility. Cognitive flexibility. Som swirled curiously. That hardly seems grounds for a military ban. They reached the archive entrance, their new clearances granting them access to a section that had been invisible to their senses before. The door bore a warning in all major galactic languages. Restricted, no LEG. Authorization required. COG-NITV, HAZARD possible. Cognitive hazard. Zix 427's crystalline form flickered with nervous energy. For historical records about humans, as the door slid open, they found themselves facing rows of data crystals, each pulsing with stored information about humanity's brief participation in galactic warfare. None of them noticed Professor Nexus watching from the shadows, their aura dimmed to near invisibility. "They're about to understand," the professor whispered to themselves. "May the void help them process what they discover." The three students began accessing the first data crystal, eager to unlock the mystery of humanity's ban. They had no way of knowing that their simple research project was about to challenge everything they thought they knew about warfare, innovation, and the true meaning of danger in the galaxy. The first data crystal activated with a soft hum, projecting a holographic display that filled the archive chamber. Som's gaseous form contracted in surprise as the image resolved into footage from humanity's first contact with the unified combat forces. "This can't be right." Zix 427's crystalline structure pulsed with confusion. They recruited humans as maintenance workers. Data stream's surface rippled with scrolling analysis. Logical given their technological level. The UCF likely viewed them as useful for their problem-solving abilities, but not advanced enough for combat roles. The footage showed humans in primitive environmental suits, dwarfed by the towering forms of standard UCF troops. They were assigned to engineering sections, repair bays, and logistics centers. Nothing about the scene suggested anything unusual. "Wait," Som condensed suddenly, their purple clouds swirling into a tight pattern. "Look at the timestamp compared to this incident report." The report detailed the complete neutralization of a rebel fleet that had ambushed the UCF base where the humans were stationed. But something wasn't adding up. The humans weren't supposed to be involved in the combat, Datastream noted, its surface displaying parallel analyses. They were in a maintenance section when the attack began. But these combat logs... Zix 427 activated another data crystal, and the chamber filled with security footage from the incident. What they saw defied conventional military logic. The humans weren't fighting. They were building. Are they disassembling their own life support systems? Som's form rippled with disbelief. During an active attack, they watched as human maintenance crews rapidly transformed standard equipment into devices that didn't exist in any technical manual. Repair tools became weapons. Cleaning systems turned into defense networks. Communication arrays transformed into combat scanners. According to this psychological analysis, Datastream processed, the humans showed no signs of panic or fear. Their cognitive patterns indicate they were enjoying the challenge. A new data crystal revealed the after-action interviews. A human engineer, looking utterly calm, explained to their bewildered interrogator. The enemy fleet's shields were calibrated against standard weapons, but they weren't prepared for a focused burst of industrial cleaning solution, accelerated to near-relativistic speeds by a modified waste disposal unit. This assessment is fascinating, Som noted, examining a report from a UCF military psychologist. It says humans don't approach problems with predetermined solutions. They analyze available resources and create new solutions on the spot. More footage played out before them. A human maintenance team, cut off from supplies, converted their entire section's lighting system into an improvised EMP weapon. Another group reprogrammed cleaning drones into a coordinated defense network. Look at this incident. Zix 427's crystal structure vibrated with amazement. A human repair crew turned their cafeteria food synthesizers into matter replicators. They literally manufactured weapons from their lunch machines. Datastream's processing core hummed as it correlated the data. The concerning pattern isn't just their ability to create weapons from anything. It's their ability to teach others to do the same. The footage showed human crews casually sharing their modifications with other species. Within weeks, UCF ships with human maintenance workers began reporting unusual equipment adaptations. Other species started looking at standard technology differently, finding new ways to transform everyday objects into combat resources. The military command tried to restrict their access, Som observed, examining later reports. They limited humans to basic equipment, imposed strict protocols. It only made them more creative. ZIX 427 finished, their crystalline form pulsing with realization. The restrictions became puzzles to solve. Every limitation became a challenge to overcome. Datastream's surface displayed the final assessment that led to the human ban. The words glowed ominously in the dim archive. Human innovation cannot be contained through conventional means. Their ability to transform any technology, combined with their drive to share and improve upon their discoveries, represents an uncontrollable cascade of military evolution. Now I understand Professor Nexus's warning. Sum's form swirled thoughtfully. This isn't just about weapons or tactics. Humans change how everyone around them thinks about possibility itself. There's more, ZIX 427 noted, accessing a sealed crystal marked with the highest security classification. This is recent observation data from Earth. They watched in stunned silence as modern humans, still confined to their solar system, continued to innovate and adapt. Every problem they faced led to multiple novel solutions. Every limitation sparked new ways of thinking. The ban wasn't about protecting the galaxy from human weapons, Datastream concluded, its surface dimming with the weight of understanding. It was about protecting established military doctrine from human creativity. As they prepared to leave the archives, Som noticed one final data crystal, smaller than the others. It contained a simple quote from a human child, recorded during a standard psychological evaluation. If you don't have the right tool for the job, you're just not being creative enough. The three students emerged from the archives changed. They had sought to understand why humans were banned from galactic warfare. Instead, they had discovered something far more profound and far more unsettling. We should prepare our presentation, ZIX 427 suggested, their crystal structures still vibrating with the implications of their discovery. But I don't think anyone is ready for what we've learned. Professor Nexus, still watching unseen, smiled inwardly. Sometimes the most important lessons weren't about the dangers we could see, but about the transformative power of a single species' way of thinking. The galaxy would never be quite the same after these students shared their findings. Datastream's surface rippled with uncertainty as they accessed the next set of classified records. These files are marked cognitive hazard, high risk. They contain detailed analyses of specific human combat incidents. What could be so dangerous about tactical data? Som's gaseous form swirled around the data interface. Their question was soon answered as the archive chamber filled with new holographic displays. The first incident showed a human maintenance crew trapped aboard a disabled UCF cruiser. Enemy forces had destroyed their weapons, damaged their engines, and were preparing to board. According to standard military doctrine, the humans should have surrendered. They did. What? ZIX 427's crystalline structure flickered with disbelief. They rerouted power from the ship's artificial gravity system into the hull plating. The footage showed the humans systematically transforming their dead ship into what they called an electromagnetic catapult. When the enemy vessels moved in to board, the humans triggered their makeshift weapon. The energized hull plates launched a barrage of repurposed debris at relativistic speeds, shredding the attacking ships. The psychological analysis is fascinating. Datastream processed. Under extreme stress, human neural activity shows increased creativity rather than decreased function. They call it thinking outside the box, a concept that literally doesn't translate into any galactic standard language. Som condensed thoughtfully around another data crystal. Look at this incident. A human security team cut off from their armory faced an attacking force with nothing but maintenance tools and emergency supplies. The holographic display showed the humans quickly converting emergency oxygen tanks into propulsion units, welding tools into plasma cutters, and medical scanners into motion detectors. They turned their entire section into what they called a home alone scenario, another untranslatable human term. Their innovation isn't random. ZIX 427 noted, their crystal structure pulsing with realization. Every human solution, no matter how bizarre, follows a consistent pattern of logical creativity. They see potential energy, and think kinetic weapon. They see communication systems and think sensor arrays. They see everyday objects and think tactical advantages. Data streams surface display parallel analyses of multiple incidents. The most concerning pattern is their collaborative innovation. When one human discovers a new hack, their term for an unconventional solution, they immediately share it with others. Each discovery becomes a foundation for even more innovations. The footage showed human crews casually exchanging what they called tips and tricks across different ships. A maintenance team's method for turning cleaning drones into reconnaissance units quickly spread throughout the fleet. Soon, other species began mimicking the human approach, looking at standard equipment with new eyes. The military command tried to contain the spread of human thinking. Some observed, examining later reports. They isolated human crews, restricted information sharing, even developed human-proof equipment designed to resist modification. It backfired spectacularly. Zix-427's crystal structure vibrated with what might have been amusement. The humans saw these restrictions as interesting puzzles. Each new security measure inspired more creative solutions. The archive revealed the military's growing panic as human influence spread. Standard equipment was being modified in ways that defied conventional military doctrine. Battle tactics evolved unpredictably. Even the most rigid military species began displaying uncomfortable levels of creative thinking. This report is particularly significant, DataStream highlighted. A human engineer explained their philosophy. Everything is made of stuff, and stuff can always be turned into other stuff. It's just a matter of understanding the properties and getting creative with the physics. Some's gaseous form expanded thoughtfully. It's not just about the physical transformations. Humans change how others perceive possibility itself. After working with humans, other species stop seeing objects for what they are and start seeing them for what they could become. The next data crystal revealed attempts to study and replicate human creativity through standardized military protocols. Every attempt failed because the very concept of standardizing human innovation was paradoxical. Here's the final assessment that led to the ban Zix-427 projected. Humans represent a fundamental threat to military predictability. Their creative influence destabilizes established combat doctrine and renders tactical analysis unreliable. Most concerning is their ability to transform this unpredictability into a teachable methodology. DataStream processed the implications. The galaxy's military forces operate on known parameters, established protocols, and predictable outcomes. Humans introduce infinite variables. They don't just think outside the box. They teach others that boxes are merely raw materials for something else. A sealed crystal marked current status showed recent observations of Earth. The humans, still unaware of their galactic ban, continued to innovate at an alarming rate. Their military exercises demonstrated increasingly creative uses of available technology. Look at their training simulations, Som noted. They deliberately practice with limited resources, challenging themselves to find solutions with whatever's available. They're unconsciously preparing for unrestricted warfare, and they're getting better at it. Zix-427 added, their crystal structure pulsing with concern. Modern humans show even greater creative potential than those who served in the UCF when they eventually develop their own space combat capabilities. They won't be bound by our assumptions or limitations, DataStream concluded. They'll approach space warfare with their uniquely human perspective, and we have no way to predict what that will look like. The three students absorbed the implications of their discoveries in silence. They had expected to find records of human military actions. Instead, they had found something far more profound. Evidence of a species whose very way of thinking could transform the nature of warfare itself. We need to prepare our presentation carefully, Som finally said, their form swirling with determination. The galaxy needs to understand what we've discovered, not just about human capabilities, but about the true nature of innovation and adaptation. As they prepared to leave the archives, DataStream noted one final quote from a human military instructor. the most dangerous weapon isn't the one you can see. It's the one your enemy creates from whatever you left lying around. The truth of those words would soon echo through the halls of the Xenological Institute, challenging everything the galaxy thought it knew about warfare, creativity, and the true meaning of military power. The secure archive room hummed with energy as SOM ZX-427 and DataStream accessed the classified files documenting the aftermath of human integration into galactic warfare. The effects had rippled through military organizations in ways no one had anticipated. These statistics are remarkable. DataStream's surface displayed cascading numbers. Within 3 months of human deployment, equipment modification rates increased by 300% across all UCF vessels, and not just on ships with human crews. SOM's gaseous form swirled around a holographic display showing psychological analyses. The exposure effect is even more striking. Species that had never shown innovative tendencies began experimenting with equipment modifications after just brief contact with human crews. The footage showed traditionally rigid species like the silicon hierarchs and the quantum collectives displaying unprecedented adaptability. Battle formations became fluid. Standard protocols evolved. The very nature of space combat began to shift. The military command's response is fascinating, ZX-427 noted, their crystalline structure pulsing with interest. They tried to quarantine ships with human crews, limiting their contact with other forces, but information couldn't be contained. They watched as human-inspired innovations spread through the ranks like a cognitive virus. Simple maintenance tricks evolved into complex tactical innovations. Standard equipment found new purposes. Even the most traditional military cultures began questioning established doctrine. This report from the Psychological Warfare Division is particularly alarming, DataStream processed. They concluded that human creativity isn't just infectious, it's irreversible. Once a species learns to see potential in everyday objects, they can't unlearn it. The archives revealed increasingly desperate attempts to contain the spread of human thinking. Military commanders developed new protocols, restricted information sharing, and even attempted to reprogram affected crews. Nothing worked. Look at this incident. SOM condensed around a data crystal. A hive mind collective that had never worked directly with humans used modified cleaning drones as combat scouts. When questioned, they said they just thought about what a human would do. The implications were staggering. Humanity's influence extended beyond their direct innovations. They were changing how other species approached problem-solving itself. The containment failures are enlightening, ZX-427 observed. The military developed supposedly modification-proof equipment. The results were unexpected. The footage showed crews across the galaxy treating these restrictions as interesting challenges. Species that had once followed protocols without question now actively sought ways around them. The very attempt to prevent modification inspired more creative solutions. DataStream's surface rippled with processed insight. The fundamental error was treating human creativity as a tactical problem rather than a conceptual contagion. They tried to contain actions when they should have been concerned about ideas. A classified psychological study appeared in the holographic display. It detailed how exposure to human problem-solving methods permanently altered neural patterns across various species. The changes were subtle but profound, a new way of seeing possibilities in the ordinary. This assessment from the Strategic Command is crucial, SOM noted. They realized that human influence wasn't just changing how others fought. It was changing how they thought about fighting itself. The military's growing concern was evident in their internal communications. Traditional warfare relied on known parameters, established protocols, and predictable responses. Human creativity introduced infinite variables, making conventional tactical analysis obsolete. The most significant threat wasn't human weapons or tactics. ZX-427's crystal structure vibrated with understanding. It was their ability to transform others into innovators. They didn't just solve problems. They taught everyone around them to solve problems differently. DataStream highlighted a particularly troubling observation. Species working with humans showed a 500% increase in what they termed creative problem-solving. More importantly, these changes persisted even after human contact ended. The archives contained examples of this persistent influence. A hive-mind fleet, months after their last human contact, converted their neural link systems into a distributed combat network. A Silicon Hierarch battalion repurposed meditation chambers as stealth field generators. The military command's final analysis is telling. Some swirled thoughtfully. They concluded that humans don't just think outside conventional boundaries. They erase those boundaries for everyone around them. Recent observation data from Earth show humans continuing to evolve their problem-solving capabilities. Their military exercises increasingly focused on adaptation and improvisation, preparing them for a form of warfare unconstrained by conventional doctrine. The ban wasn't just about preventing human participation in galactic warfare, ZX-427 realized, their crystal structure pulsing with revelation. It was an attempt to quarantine their influence before it completely transformed military thinking. But it may already be too late. Data stream processed. The data suggests that exposure to human creativity has permanently altered how many species approach problems. The ripple effect continues, even without direct human presence. The three students contemplated the implications of their discoveries. They had found more than just the reason for humanity's ban. They had uncovered evidence of a species whose very way of thinking could reshape galactic civilization. Our presentation needs to address this broader impact, some suggested, their forms swirling with purpose. It's not just about human capabilities or military concerns. It's about the fundamental nature of innovation and how it spreads. As they prepared to leave the archives, DataStream noted one final quote from a military strategist. "The true danger of human creativity isn't in what they can build. It's in how they make others see the universe. Once you learn to think like a human, everything becomes possible." The truth of those words would soon challenge the very foundations of galactic military doctrine, as three students prepared to reveal how a single species' creativity had irreversibly changed the nature of warfare itself. The main auditorium of the Xenological Institute had never been so full. Word had spread about the unusual research topic chosen by three senior students, drawing attendance from far beyond the academic community. Military observers, strategic analysts, and even members of the Galactic Security Council sat in the shadowed upper tiers. Professor Nexus's aura pulsed with nervous energy as they introduced the presentation. Today, we will hear findings about a species that challenges our fundamental understanding of warfare and innovation. DataStream's spherical form hovered at the center of the stage, its surface displaying preparation protocols, while some's gaseous form swirled nearby. ZX-427's crystalline structure glowed with determination as they began. Our research began with a simple question. ZX-427 projected. Why was a pre-FTL species banned from galactic warfare for being too capable? What we discovered challenges everything we thought we knew about military evolution. The first holographic displays showed standard human biological data. The audience shifted restlessly, seeing nothing remarkable about the fragile bipedal species. Humans appear unremarkable. Some continued, their form expanding to interact with the displays. Limited strength, no natural weapons, primitive technology. But these surface observations missed the true nature of human capability. DataStream activated the classified combat footage. The audience watched in growing unease as humans transformed ordinary objects into weapons, maintenance tools into combat systems, and standard equipment into tactical advantages. This adaptation ability, while concerning, wasn't the primary reason for their ban, ZX-427 explained. The true danger lay in how humans think about problems and how that thinking spreads to others. The displays showed the ripple effects of human influence. Traditionally rigid species becoming innovators, standard protocols evolving into flexible approaches, and conventional military doctrine breaking down in the face of endless creative solutions. A military observer stood up, their exoskeleton clicking with agitation. This information is highly classified. The implications of. The implications are exactly why this must be understood. Some interrupted, their form pulsing with conviction. Humans don't just solve problems. They fundamentally change how problems are perceived. DataStream projected the statistical analyses. Exposure to human problem-solving methods results in permanent cognitive changes across all studied species. The effect is irreversible and spreads exponentially. The audience murmured as they watched footage of non-human crews implementing human-inspired innovations, developing their own creative solutions, and teaching others to do the same. The military command's attempts to contain human influence failed. ZX-427 continued, because they misunderstood the nature of the threat. They tried to restrict actions when they should have been concerned about ideas. The presentation showed the cascading failure of containment protocols. Each restriction became a new challenge to overcome. Each limitation sparked more creative solutions. But the most crucial discovery wasn't about the past. Some swirled purposefully. It's about the future. The displays shifted to recent Earth observations, showing humans continuing to evolve their problem-solving capabilities. They're advancing faster than predicted. DataStream processed. Their military exercises focus increasingly on adaptive warfare, finding solutions with limited resources, transforming ordinary objects into tactical advantages, and sharing innovations across their forces. The military observers were now all standing, their various forms showing signs of extreme agitation. One began to speak, but Professor Nexus's aura flared suddenly, silencing them. "Let them finish," the professor commanded. "The galaxy needs to understand what we face." ZX-427's crystal structure pulsed with intense light as they delivered their conclusion. The ban on human participation in galactic warfare was never about containing their physical capabilities. It was an attempt to quarantine a way of thinking that transforms everything it touches. Some expanded to illuminate the final displays. But that quarantine has already failed. The human perspective has begun to spread through our military forces, changing how species think about possibility itself. Our research suggests, DataStream concluded, that we face a crucial decision. We can continue trying to contain human creativity, fighting a battle we've already lost, or we can try to understand and adapt to a universe where anything is possible. The auditorium erupted into chaos. Military observers argued with academic officials. Strategic analysts huddled in urgent discussion. Members of the Galactic Security Council vanished to emergency sessions. Professor Nexus floated onto the stage, their aura now glowing with pride. "You've done more than complete a research project. You've forced the galaxy to confront a truth it has long tried to ignore." As the audience debated the implications of their presentation, the three students watched their familiar world begin to change. Their simple research project had revealed more than just why humans were banned from galactic warfare. It had exposed how a single species' creativity could transform the very nature of possibility. In the following days, as their findings spread across the galaxy, military doctrine began to shift. Species that had never questioned standard protocols started exploring new possibilities. The rigid structures of galactic warfare began to flex and evolve. And somewhere in a distant solar system, completely unaware of their influence, humans continued to innovate, adapt, and prepare for their eventual emergence onto the galactic stage. When they finally achieved FTL travel, they would find a military landscape transformed by their own way of thinking. As Son, ZX-427, and DataStream watched the ripples of their research spread, they realized they had documented more than just history. They had witnessed the beginning of a new era in galactic warfare, shaped by the species that had been banned from participating in it. The final words of their presentation echoed through the halls of the Xenological Institute. The most powerful force in warfare isn't technology, strength, or numbers. It's the ability to see possibility where others see limitation. And once you learn to think like that, there's no going back.